Have you started it? You started it? Okay. Gotcha.
Good evening, everyone, and welcome to the Coach Jones Show. I'm Adam Bell, along with Indians football head coach DeMario Jones.
Yes, sir.
I got tongue-tied there, Coach. How you doing, man?
I'm doing okay.
Did you have a good weekend?
Yeah, it's been. I've been sick.
Been
A
sick?
little bit.
Oh,
Yeah,
man.
So it's been a.
Well, I certainly hope you get to feeling better real
well,
soon.
I'm trying to. I'm trying.
Hey,
to.
going back to last Friday a little bit before we dive into turn, a huge game this Friday night coming up in the Swamp. But I want to go back to Friday night for just a little bit, if you don't mind. I thought Friday night the Indians started off hot. I thought that momentum swing there with especially with the special teams coach there at the beginning, blocking that, getting the punt down there, the 2-yard or the safety, then going in for the safety, then coming back and having that return down to the 2. That was really a momentum swing in our favor up until we couldn't quite punch it in there on that turnover.
Yeah, I think it. You talk about the beginning of the game. I don't see much of a difference, Adam, honestly, from the beginning to the end of the game in terms of execution. And there was a couple scores that they have late where we've got a guy sitting there ready to fit the play, but he just doesn't fit for whatever reason. And so these are the games against the Brooks and the Irwins that are so important for us to learn how to play through, because those are the games that against good opponents you got to play from start to finish, and you got to execute when your chance or your number is called. And so it's a learning lesson, but it's one that stings even more.
Yeah. I thought if you take a moment and talk about special teams for a minute. They've played a huge role this year. You've had some really good special teams. That was a nice punch Friday night.
Well, about halfway in the year, right after the Toombs game, as we start looking at, how we need to improve, there were a couple things that we needed to start doing different in terms of practice with special teams, because we had a couple games where it hadn't beat us, but there was things glaring, that we needed to work on. And so since we've kind of tweaked some things in practice, and our guys give great effort during practice when we're drilling this stuff, and so just been pleased with how, the things have translated from practice to the game field. And so, I can't say, it's any one thing that, hey, we did this and this is why we're doing it. It still goes back to the kids executing it on Friday nights, which is why when we don't do something offensively or defensively, it gets me so upset. But, you live, you learn, and you'd hopefully mature through those mistakes. But it definitely gives, us a sort of sense of pride, because we have been, formidable on defense. On special teams this year.
I know on the offensive side of the ball, we penetrated into their red zone 4 times, right? 4 times, come away empty, but still, we were moving the ball on them, just couldn't quite punch it in. Have you been able to address that yet? I know that Irwin put up 34, so I know it's not a continual problem. Is that a situation where it's just matchups maybe?
No, I think it's, night to night. You talk about matchups or personnel, we've got who we've got. And so who's here in the door, walking our school buildings, who we're going to play with. We got to do a great job of continuing to coach those guys up. From a coaching standpoint, I always start here. Let's not do something to lose the game, right? Let's try to put our kids in the best possible position. Obviously, that starts on Sundays when we come up here and meet and we formulate a game plan. And then as we go throughout the week, tweaking things here or there. But ultimately, it comes down to whatever my job is, I've got to do my job as the head coach. And whatever our coaches' jobs, individuals are that they've got to do them well. And then when it's your turn to execute something, Brooks, Brantley, Irwin, Clinch, or like tomorrow, Turner, got to do your job. You got to do it to the best of your ability. Your best
every play. Can't take a play off in this region.
Your best is required every play. So if we get under center, I've seen that this happen before. If we get under center right there on the 1-yard line and we fumble the ball, right, that's just as bad as us trying to snap the ball and getting a yard. And so all of it to me is a sense of pride thing. Can't tell you the number of teams that I see get down there and they change their whole offense up, obviously just to get the ball in for a yard. It's a sense of pride. At the end of the day, I want the ball over the goal line. What
Right.
do we have to do that? And it's a mentality. It's a mindset. There's got to be a shift when you're out there that all I need is that all I've got to do is just go forward a yard. And so those are things that Adam, they're frustrating. They're so frustrating because we're not out here practicing. After the Irwin game, I thought we weren't physical enough, and we went back to practicing in full pads 3 days a week. And it's not just full pad. We're out here hitting each other. We're out here playing football.
Right.
And so these have just been, pains in this first year that I would hope that would have remedied themselves. But, you live, you learn, and you mature. We've got to move forward and be better for the mistakes that we make. They're not always going to show up, every Friday night. But I can say this, I'm proud that our guys are hanging in there and learning, trying to learn from their mistakes.
On the defensive side of the ball for the Tribe this past Friday, it looked like you talk about snaps. Brooks was having a real issue with snaps. They were almost all of them low in that first half. And defense tried to capitalize. We did capitalize on it early in the game. How did that progress as the game went on?
Again, I just, been extremely frustrated with, our operation on the side of the ball of understanding, where we've got to be and what our assignment is and what is my job specifically. I think it all goes back again to I've got a job to do. I've got to do my job. Yeah. And if my job is to be outside, I need to be outside. And I don't care that you saw whatever inside, or if I'm supposed to have my eyes here and I'm supposed to be on this person, then, it frustrates you so much because you don't practice for it to be that way. You try to, sometimes over-prepare yourself too much. But I think, we learned an even more valuable lesson Friday, right? We learned one against Irwin. We learned another one, against Brooks when you've got a good team and you're fighting and battling early and you get gifted something or you create something, you got to cash it in. Right? You get that check in the mail, you got to go cash that in because you may not get that opportunity again. Same's going to be on Friday night. If we get an opportunity to capitalize on something, we've got to.
Yeah. I said that on the webcast Friday night when we got down to the 2-yard line. I really, really, truly believe if we had punched that in, momentum's completely on our side at that point. That's a whole different game at that point. I really believe that.
Well, it's something we'll never know now, but I sure wish it would have swung the other way.
Sir?
I said it's something we'll never know now, but I sure wish it would have swung the other way.
Yeah, well,
but you live and you learn. I hope the next time we have that opportunity that we cash in what we've done. So.
Yes, sir. On the talking about on the offensive side of the ball, I noticed sometimes we get an opportunity and we go out there and it's 1st and 10 and we're inside their territory and there's a false start or somebody's motion or something. What are we doing to eliminate those I call them preventable penalties. What are we doing to eliminate that, Coach?
Holding our kids accountable at practice. When a guy jumps offside on a Friday night, it looks like the worst thing in the world. Yeah. And then when it continues to happen over again, I think on Fridays what ends up happening, because this doesn't happen throughout the week, it's more of an embarrassment thing. It's more of I'm out in front of people and now I hear people saying things to me, and you got to block it out. And it's more of you can't get things inside of your head. Yeah, it's more of a mental thing because when it happens out at practice, they go take a lap or they do up downs or they're running sideline to sideline. Like, I can't stop the game then and have you get push-ups or, run a gasser during practice. And so it's just different. Fridays are so different because they're emotional days, right? And there are things that have happened this season that that have been a wild thing to me in regards to, this game that's, meant to be fun and meant to be competitive and fierce. And it's showed me a lot of what we need to do with our kids in the offseason. Look, if you don't make a play, it's not the end of the game.
Right.
And don't get down on yourself. And then don't listen to whatever negativity that you hear. You got to play that next play.
Yeah.
I've got to instill that lesson there are a few things that have happened on Friday nights now that have added to what needs to go into that weight room. Because when I got here, we started pushing the weights hard. We started getting after it. And I felt like that kind of built some momentum going to the spring. And so for me now, I understand that there are a lot of things that have happened on Friday nights where it just kind of gets our attitude and our spirit down that I've got to create in that weight room, because everything within a football program starts and ends in that weight room. So
I used to tell AJ that when my son played ball here. That previous play's over.
yeah,
You know, you got gone. Just keep building.
it's easier said than done on a Friday because you got them lights on, you got people in the stands,
Ton of pressure.
and we've got to learn to not be that way.
Yeah, especially around here. There's such a standard here, which you know that. That's why one of the reasons why you came here. And there's such a standard of that pressure on these kids. But it's been like that forever here. I mean, there's just that. I don't know, it's that ambiance of the swamp and Champ Bailey Field, you know. You got a field named after an NFL All-Pro, Hall of Famer, you know, so it's right there on the field on the name tag.
Yeah, I think what you're saying is the right thing. It's been a long time since we played big-time football, meaning where we knew we were going to get ready to go make a run, and everybody was, going to do what they can and pull together to go support the team all the way to the dome.
Right.
And so what I'm trying to create for our kids is that sense of understanding is that I am enough, we've done enough, now we've got to go out here and execute.
Yeah.
And we've got to fight together, and it's not the battle between good and evil, but it's the push and pull and the grind that is a Friday night, especially when you get into a game. And so we're learning. We don't always see the improvement directly in the result of the game. The other thing I had to remember is we played 2 games and we've had a couple of breaks.
Yeah.
You know, this isn't the whole season, right? And
Right.
we can't let that loss beat us again, right? We've got to come out and we've got to play discipline and assign football, and we've got to capitalize on other people's mistakes, and then we've got to create opportunities for ourselves to be successful, and then again cash them in, when it comes time.
Coach, I made a post last night, and I asked some fans to send in some questions. You mind answering a couple of them?
Okay.
Let's do that real quick. I took some screenshots here of our fans. Let's see here. All right, the first question comes in from Joey Spikes. He actually sent 3, but we're going to do 1. He says, after the 2 losses like you talked about, what's being done as far as in the locker room maybe to affect the team's mindset, putting that behind you like you just talked about, putting the previous play behind you and getting ready for Turner?
You'd be surprised, Joy. Great question. You'd be surprised. We're living in this day of social media, and you kind of brought something up.
Yeah.
We talk about, we have open discussion when we're here, and we talk about putting things to bed and not letting this setback define our season and moving forward. And you'd be surprised at how much of this our kids talk about and why it bothers them so much. And I wish I could share that with the naysayers or the folks. It is what our kids care about, and I don't know if the disconnect is between the way things used to be, in the good old days, in my opinion, before there was all this technology and before I could know what was going on across the world in real time. But our kids associate their attitude, their feelings, by what other people say and what other people feel.
Yeah.
And so when we come in here and talk and we're putting something to bed, and a guy's read and seen something that somebody didn't directly say to them but is addressing with them, it's hard, man. Adam, it makes you wish that you could win them all, not for my glory. Such an emotional thing because I'm at practice today and I'm coaching our team and I'm coaching hard, and I'm doing all the things that I normally do, and one of my players stops me and says, "Coach, did you pray today?" And the reason that hit me so is I feel the weight, the enormous pressure that is guiding this football program and the expectation to win. but then I know what we're up against and what we don't have and what we need and how our kids need to think and how we need to go about. And none of it's that simple. But in that moment, that young man was telling me, Coach, I prayed to God. I just prayed that he take all my forgive me for all my sins and that he'll bless everything that I'm trying to do. And what that did for me is it said, keep preaching and doing the right things. I'll keep coming in here and addressing this with these kids, but all I can hope for is that we can find a way to have one more point than the other guy on Friday, a lot of times just so our kids don't have to hear that stuff or read it, just because we're in a different time. And for lack of a better term, we're behind the times in the fact that, hey guys, don't care what other people say. That's so easier said than done. But what's being done in here is learn from your mistakes, hold you accountable, and then move on. Don't give negative things oxygen. Move forward.
You got just keep going forward, and you got to tune it out, because I know when AJ was here, quarterback here, so much pressure. He just tuned it out because you hear it all night long, especially on Friday night out there.
Yeah.
Coach, one more question. This comes in from a Miss Trish Bailey. She wants to know, what do you see different in the team now as when you first arrived here in Charlton County? You've been here almost a year now.
Well, I love Miss Trish. Miss Trish takes good care of us. I've seen kids that want to try to figure it out.
Right.
We talk about being great. There's a large gap in between the last state championship football team and the current team. And every year you don't either play for one or make a deep run or win one, that gap grows larger. And so I've seen kids that hear state championship and hear excellence and hear Charlton County football.
Yeah.
But I don't know if they always understand the enormous weight that is carried simply behind that name. And so that's a task in itself, and that's one of the things that I'm going to do this offseason. All of the former players, Adam, and you can probably help me with this, I want our former players, especially the ones who have played on past teams, I would love for them to come back and share their story about when they were here to connect the two eras.
I think you just invited them, Coach.
Well, I did, and what I hope to get out of this is this.
Yeah.
The more our kids are exposed to the things that the guys in the glory days of this program went through in terms of the weight room and what they did in the classroom and how they were out here on the field, the more we can connect those eras, the more our kids will feel not the pressure and enormous weight that it is to carry that name, but they'll understand that every single thing mattered. Like, in order to have won those state championship games and to have been the team, the standard year in and year out, there was a mentality, there was a mindset, and it's not something that we can just preach. It's something that I'm ready to return here, and it takes a commitment to excellence each and every day in everything that you're doing. And so it's not that we're not preaching it. It's not that we want to be soft. It's not any of this craziness that our kids may say or think or believe or have to hear. It's about going out, doing your best, and giving your best each and every day for that name that's on your chest that means so much.
That's it right there in a nutshell, isn't it? All right, let's dive into Turner County because it's a big week. Mm-hmm. We're and even though we've got these 2 losses, that's in the past now. We're still in the hunt for a playoff spot. We take care of business Friday night, and we're in the playoffs, the way I understand it.
It is.
So we got to pack the place out Friday night.
Yep.
Coach, we got Turner County coming to town. They're 1-8. The Titans. That record really doesn't speak to how many points they can put on the board. Those jokers can put some points on the board over there in Turner County. What are you expecting out of the offense from Turner County?
Well, it's crazy. The guys that are seniors on this team were freshmen for me when I was coaching at Turner.
So you know these guys.
Yeah, I know quite a few of them pretty well. And then some of the guys that are juniors, names that I kind of remember, were actually ball boys for us when I was last over there. They're going to play hard. You're right. They had some pretty good showings against both Irwin and Clinch, and then kind of met the same fate that we did against Brooks, and then played a really tough and close game with Lanier. And they've kind of been in all their games this year, and the couple games that they weren't in, I think maybe they might have been trying to figure themselves out. But I know what to expect Friday. They're going to come in, if they understand the situation like we do, everything's, as far as making the playoffs is still in front of them. And so in terms of aligning and scheming and doing the things that we do to prepare for an opponent, yes. But we want something just like they want it. So, we've got to come out and play.
I heard that. It's going to be a little bit of a reunion for you, huh?
Well, in the standpoint of it, I got to see most of the kids that were a part of the track team at Turner. We took, 20 boys up to the state track meet. So I got to see a couple of them throughout the region, sectionals, and state. So, I mean, no love lost. I wish them well. Heck, Friday we're going against each other. So it's kind of good luck and stay safe and whatnot from there. But I'm concerned about what we're going to do and how we're going to show up and how we're going to perform, because we've still got everything in front of us, that we want to try to accomplish this year.
Go ahead and tell us what you got what do you expect out of our tribe Friday night is what I'm trying to spit out.
Yeah. I'm expecting for them to come and show up for our seniors, because it's senior night. I'm expecting our seniors to try and do the very best that they can do and play well. But most importantly, it'd be great with as much as we have going on in this first year, and trying to get to our fifth win, because you can only stack one. The one thing I've learned early in my coaching career was I don't care how big and how important that game that it is that you're getting ready to play, it's only one.
Yeah.
And so we've got to go out and just go search and hunt for our next win. And so much in our first year has been about changing mindset through putting things from the past kind of back where they needed to be and out of the forefront. And so from the win perspective, doubling our win total from last year, now the next step is making the playoffs and continue to try to build on things week to week and seeing how far we can press and push this thing. So I would hope that we've drilled home how important Friday night is long before that we've got to play. But again, as I talk to coaches at big schools, 6A schools, all the way down to our level, everybody's talking to their kids about the same thing this time of year. Friday night is not just important on Friday night. It's important every night of the week, which is why we feed and hydrate and recover and do the things that we do, here in the program to try to, give our kids an edge or an advantage. And so, it's on the line Friday night. We got to go play.
Coach, Friday, senior night, possibly depending on how the playoffs work is, if we can take care of business Friday night, possibly the final home game for some of these seniors here. Obviously during the regular season it is. Mm-hmm. Talk about your seniors.
Yeah, I'm thankful. This is when you come into a high school football program, things have really changed all across the country. High school's getting to be more and more like the college level and the pro level in people's minds, not necessarily from the resource standpoint. But when you come into a new program, you don't get to hand pick and go in the portal and set your roster, right? So who you come in with is who you come in with. And so I'm thankful for our seniors that have remained in the program for coming in and grasping and being as accepting to the new way of doing things, because quite frankly, this year is a year to set the standard and expectation that this is how we're going to do business, and when you don't own up to the standard, you're going to be held accountable for it. And it hadn't always been a sunny day here for everybody that's probably been used to another way. And so I'm more thankful to these seniors for allowing me into their home, allowing me into their heart, and working as hard as they can with what they have. And so Friday's going to be a special night, not just for them, but for me to thank them, before the game, and then, we create enough, opportunity to come in after the game to be able really have a good celebration. But they've meant a lot to me from the standpoint of that's not really an area that, when I came here, showed itself that was going to be a problem. They were hungry and willing and accepting to, hey, okay, well, this is going to be new. That's going to be new. We're going to have to do this. And so I'm thankful for them for that. But then on the other hand, we've got to go Friday night and try to put one more piece, into this puzzle.
That'd be awesome. We can put a win together for these seniors Friday night.
It would.
Clinch that playoff spot.
It would.
That'd be the 4 seed. And, as a fan, we like to think ahead. Yeah, I know y'all don't. The coaches don't. Y'all worried about Friday night.
Oh, yeah.
But if we could pull that off Friday night, then all of a sudden that Swamp War over there in Homerville the following week, that becomes huge for possibly a 3 seed.
Yeah.
So it's a lot on the line Friday night. Friday night sets the table.
Everything's on the line Friday night.
Every Friday night around here sets the table, doesn't it? Coach, anything else you want to hit on for senior night will be at halftime?
I believe it's before the game.
Oh, before the game. Okay. All right. I want to make sure
I will get you the exact information on that. That's one of the beautiful things about being here. It's not something I've got to worry about.
Right.
We've got folks at the school that handle it, but I will get the right information to you, and then we'll push it out.
Yeah, because I need to go on the air earlier for that. And I think you're right. I think it is pregame. I always get them and homecoming. I always get that mixed up.
Yeah.
On my personal agenda.
Well, the only thing I would say is I'm so thankful for you and CSN for everything that you guys do. I'm thankful for all of the families and businesses and quarterback club that have continued to help feed and nourish our players. Thankful to our administration and faculty and staff for everybody that plays a hand in helping with our kids each and every day. So many people like Miss Trish that you mentioned, Miss Betty and Pee Wee and Mr. Doggett, Jeff Doggett that come in and take great care of us in the afternoons. And then I'm really thankful. I don't know how to say this enough. I'm thankful for our kids. I'm thankful for our players and their families, my coaches and their families that all sacrifice. I'm thankful to my family, my wife, my daughter, my mom and dad, my brother who try to be at everything that I'm doing, and my family all throughout the state of Florida and Georgia and everywhere else that are watching and so supportive. It is really something. It's a long and tedious stretch through the season, and to have that support system is really what gets you through. It gets you through because this thing is not just taxing in your time. Again, we're living in a different era. This isn't always fun and sometimes it wears on you because here we are trying to create a solution to a problem, and different sets of problems just continue to come up. And so when it's our time to shine, Adam, when it's our time to shine and be excited and just know we've got it going on, I'm going to really enjoy this moment more than I've enjoyed that moment because these are the building blocks and the stepping stones that we've got to go to, in the process of trying to be great again. And so we'll stay in the fight. We'll stay in the battle.
It definitely takes a whole community to do a football program, doesn't it?
It does.
Everybody's involved from the Feed the Tribe program all the way up. It's just a whole thing.
Yeah.
All right, Coach, anything else?
Nope.
All right, man, we'll see you Friday night.
7:30.
Kickoff 7:30, but senior, you'll let us know.
I will.
Possibly pregame, so y'all plan on that. Just get to the Swamp early, pack the place out, go fan for tickets, right?
Yes, sir. Go try it.
All right, Coach, we appreciate you, man.
Yes, sir.
Have a great – and Sammy's the reason why Sammy's not here tonight. He's working. It's Red Ribbon Week, so you folks in Charlton County know what that means. Y'all behave on the highways. We'll see you next time live on the Coach Jones Show. Thank you, Coach.
Yes, sir. No problem.